Hey, this is Michael from Dark Tranquility, and this is Metal Wani.
Alright, so hey, welcome, thank you for taking the time to speak to Metal Wani. How's the tour been going?
It's been awesome. Really cool. 3 shows so far. We started out in New York, and it's been fantastic. It's really cool to have our friends from Insomnium on the tour. Everything's been smooth. It's been fantastic shows. 2 of them have been sold out already. So I feel great, actually. Like, this is the last kind of tour thing that we do for this album. You know, we've done, what is it, like 140 shows or something like that.
Yeah, it's a huge tour.
Ridiculous. So, and it still feels good, you know, and we've, you know, changed the set somewhat, you know, brought some new songs in and some old stuff that we haven't done in a while. So it feels fresh and it feels fun, so I'm awesome. Super excited.
Yeah, I was going to say that Dark Tranquility and Insomnium is just a great, like, tour package combination. You know, that's going to be my next question is, like, you know, the set list and everything like that. How are you guys maintaining that with, you know, a mixture of, like, the new stuff and the old stuff and everything?
It's always the most difficult thing in the world. You know, you just go like, what the I know we have to play these songs, and then we want to play these songs, and then
over 10 albums.
yeah, it gets ridiculous. But at the same time, you try to find a good balance. You know, sometimes we change it up, you know, from night to night. But as happy as some people are about that, there are always people who will get disappointed.
How come they play that song for me, but for them, but not for me?
I know exactly how that is. You know, I've always, like, whenever my favorite bands come to town, you know, I never check out the set list, so I want to be, you know, feel fresh when I see the show, and then if I go back and see whatever they did last night or the day before, whatever, I get disappointed if I didn't get all the songs, and it's tough, man. But absolutely. You know, we do our best.
Hey, that's all you can do, right?
Yeah.
So
can you just talk a little louder?
Yeah. It's a huge tour, like you said, 140 shows, you know, and you know, when you guys are on the road in between gigs, I mean, it's got to get pretty boring from time to time. So what do you guys really do to keep yourselves entertained while you're on the road?
Well, fortunately, there are so many things. I mean, we have a really nice bus. You know, we have video games, we have the iPads, and internet, TV, movies, everything. I mean, so yeah, sure, we can always have, like, entertain ourselves, I guess. But for me, I love, like, seeing the cities, try to, like, go for walks and just, you know, see the sights, whatever, and find good beer. Actually, it's one of my main hobbies. So I go out and find breweries or brew pubs or brew bars, stuff like that. I just find like local craft beers. So that's always one of the highlights for me every day.
Oh, any good local ones around here that you liked?
I haven't tried any, but I bought tons today, so I'm looking forward to you know, sampling some tonight.
Yeah,
what's
nice.
it called, like the snakes? I think they have it here. Well, I don't know, but I've had some great help from a guy who lives here, and he showed me around. And,
very good. Yeah.
Told me what to buy, so I'm happy.
Yeah, there's a great place down the street with a huge selection of microbrews.
Oh yeah, really?
Right down the street. What's the name of the place?
Armsby Abbey.
Armsby Abbey, right down the street. Yep.
I'm going there for sure.
For sure.
Good stuff.
So, you know, the big question on everybody's mind is new material. Working on anything, writing, any kind of an idea of when you guys are going to be writing, recording?
We've started a little bit, like, you know, simply like putting together ideas, like basic structures and just ideas, like, in the studio. But we haven't really kind of fully committed to it just yet. We have tons of stuff, and then so after this tour ends, that's when we're going to start for real.
All right.
Really kind of get into it. Hopefully we can have something released by the end of the year. I'm not sure. We'll see. You know, sometimes it takes a long time, and sometimes we do it fast. We'll see. You know, it's like there's no pressure, and we don't want to pressure ourselves too much. Like, and but it's definitely writing time.
Nice. That's good to hear. You know, I mean, the Construct just blew my mind when it came out. I know
cool.
that.
Thanks.
You know, it's been 22 years since Skydancer came out.
Yeah.
You know, still you guys are rocking just as hard as ever. You know, every time you guys play, you bring, you know, your A game. How have you guys stayed so on point and so, you know, just never losing your touch over so many years?
I don't know. Thanks, but I mean, I think it comes down to, like, we still do the same kind of thing that we grew up doing. We love music. We love the expression of like an extreme metal. You know, you love like the energy that it gives and the energy you kind of put out. We love the melodies. And the kind of bands we grew up with were these, you know, really intense death metal and thrash bands, and also these melodic metal bands. And in a way, we try to combine it, and we just feel really good about it. And I guess we would feel like we would betray ourselves if we started kind of thinking what it is expected of us. If we started thinking like, oh, what do people want, and what's hip right now, and what do the kids need, or stuff like that. If we started thinking like that, then it wouldn't be Dark Tranquility anymore. You know, it's all about kind of trying to, I don't know, like, make sure that what you do is you do it as well as possible. Kind of fine tune everything and kind of make
evolve
the best
in an organic manner.
Yeah, and create kind of the best album you can without losing touch of what's important. You know? And at first, like, it kind of comes naturally, you know, because we've been doing this for a while, and we have a certain kind of, we all have this certain kind of filter that whatever passes through it is fine, and then it would end up being a Dark Tranquility song. And I still, like, even though we've been through ups and downs, like in the band and in musically and, you know, personally and all that stuff, it's like the thing that still kind of unites us is the passion and the love for music. And whenever we can do that and stand in front of a you know, enthusiastic and loving crowd, it's the best feeling in the world, and that keeps us going. It's like you don't want to lose that. You don't want to kind of betray the audience who's been there for us, you know, for all these years. It's a beautiful thing, you know, when you get to express your innermost feelings and thoughts and play music that you crafted for such a long time and have that kind of resonate and have that communication and with the audience. You know, it doesn't get any better than that. It's the best thing in the world.
It's all anybody could aspire to, doing what you do, you know. So you know, the vocals have always, you know, stood out really strong in Dark Tranquility's music. You've always had a really amazing and unique, clean vocal style, and you've always used that very sparingly. I was wondering if there's any specific reason why, you know, there's been stretches of albums where you haven't touched that style at all.
It's like, for a while I just got tired of it. I mean, we did it on Skydancer first, and then on Gallery, and then it felt exciting and new because no one else was doing it at the time. Then as soon as like every band started doing it, I lost interest. You know, I was like, why should we? It's like, that's not what we are, you know. And I've also kind of always felt that I don't want to go like a clean chorus just because it's more accessible to people. It's like, that's not what I want. I wanted to portray like the emotion of the song or whatever the song needs, and not just use it just so that it becomes easier to get into for people who are perhaps normally not into that, whatever. It's like, I guess I've always had like that feeling that I just want to do it for the sake of doing it, for the sake of like. But at the same time, I love singing, and it's so if we write songs that kind of has a vibe where I feel like I want to sing more than to scream, and that's what we do. So I don't know. Let's see what happens on the next album. But,
absolutely.
But I really love the fact that like Construct had so many different layers and so many different moods and vibes that I was able to experiment a little bit more with.
Yeah, definitely showed through too.
Hope this is like picking up. It's pretty loud.
So you know, Dark Tranquility has always had a knack for, you know, just producing music with, you know, you got huge guitar riffs, the strong drums, the catchy vocals, and, you know, really thought-provoking lyrics. Just what is, like, you know, guys' main inspiration as a band, you know, in the writing process?
I don't know. I think it depends on who you talk to in the band. Like, since everybody's like involved in the writing mode.
Well, let's say you specifically.
Yeah, for me, like, since I don't write any of the music, my inspiration comes from the other guys' music. So whenever I get a song, I get inspired by that and start writing. But of course, anything I read, anything I see or, you know, experience, I pour into the stuff that I write. But sometimes I always go back to like, what would Neil Peart do. Like, he's one of my biggest heroes when it comes to lyrics and of course music and everything like that. And so I tend to kind of, I want to write stuff that makes me want to scream. Stuff that makes me angry, frustrated, furious, you know. And the last couple of years, it's about, it's been my main kind of source of frustration and anger comes from what I see in the world of faith and belief system and nonsense, stuff like that. It's just because I'm getting heavily into like the skeptical movement and atheist movement, and it's like the more I dig into that, the more I get frustrated about what people kind of tend to take for granted or believe in and stuff like that. So it's, I don't know, like that gets me going, and normally I just need something to kind of get me going, get frustrated, get angry, then I'll start writing. So that's my main kind of the driving force behind it.
Yeah.
Then I could write whatever, but it's like I just need that kind of
passion
to get things out of my system. You know?
Well, so, you know, over 2 decades of Dark Tranquility, 10 studio albums. I mean, do you guys ever just like look back and reflect on, you know, your musical career and journey that you've taken and just find it like surreal, or it's hard to believe that you've gotten this far playing in a hard metal band?
Yeah, I guess I'm forced to do it when I get questions like this. I have to kind of think that, but I normally don't. Like, we normally don't. Like, we just, you know, we go like, yeah, that was fun, and sometimes we can reminisce about how shitty a tour was or how it was back then. But I think since we started pretty young, you know, I was 14 when I started playing guitar. When we recorded Scanners, I was 19. You know, so this has been more than half our lives. It's and this is what we do. I mean, I don't know anything else. Like,
yes, it's just normal.
We grew up on the same street, and we started listening to music and metal at the same time. So this is just it. This is what we do. I mean, sure, we have our lives, you know, that are outside of the band at home, and that's a totally different story. But what we do is so natural to us. I mean, this is such a huge part of our lives that it's kind of hard to go back. You know, like, yeah, sure, we could have done things differently, you know, whatever. But at the same time, things constantly get better, and we try to improve our situation in the band constantly, like better tours, you know, better crew, better songs, better everything, and better live show, everything. It's like, so it's like a constantly evolving thing, and that's what I love about it. Like, things are improving, you know.
Definitely more about the future than the past.
Always. Yeah. Just keeping moving forward, and that's progression. You know, that's what it is.
Definitely. So, you know, thank you so much for the interview. I was wondering if you could leave us with a little bit of, you know, any kind of advice you can give to young, you know, musicians that are just starting out. You know, you guys have been so successful through the years. Maybe you could give some insight to them.
I talk to bands all the time, and I always go like, well, stay in the rehearsal room, practice forever. I mean, that's the only thing that will eventually kind of get you anywhere. Like, absolutely. Practice and try to be original. Like, for us, it was always be as different as you can from every other band. Like, that was our kind of mantra. That was that. If anything that we wrote or, you know, sounded even remotely close to a band that we knew, we were like, fuck it, scrap it, go back and do it again. Like, so I think if you start off kind of like ripping off other bands, then perhaps that's not going to work. I mean, try to start fresh. I mean, of course, that's the hardest thing in the world, to come up with something original and new. But at least try to be not the other bands. Then eventually you will find originality, you know?
Awesome.
And,
awesome.
Yeah, and don't record and don't kind of go out there in the world and, you know, try to make a name for yourself before you
made a
have
sound
all
for
this
yourself.
yes, exactly. Sound before notoriety.
Absolutely. All right, man. Awesome.
Cool.
Thank you so much for your time.